I'm kind of excited to bring this fellow on, and not only that, to also bring on the woman who will be interviewing him, because they've got not just, it's Jack Tretton, he's the CEO of Sony Entertainment USA, but also Jane McGonigal, who's the creative director of Social Chocolate. She wrote "Reality is Broken: Why Games Make Us Better, How They Can Change the World." Jane is great. Jane says that her goal in life, number one goal in life, is to see a game developer win a Nobel Peace Prize, which I think is just interesting. And when you think about it, well, that's, games are becoming very, very important. Jack obviously is in charge of a very, very big and important game platform, and he has something to show us, right? Am I correct? So let's bring up Jack Tretton, CEO of Sony Entertainment USA.
John,
how are you, sir?
How you doing?
Very good to see you. Yeah. So what do you got to show us?
Well, we're going to talk about the PlayStation Vita today, so I brought somebody along from the office, Christian Cardona, to give you a live demo.
How are you doing? Thank you. Give us the framing for this. What are we seeing?
Well, this is our take at bringing really the console experience to a portable device, multimedia, high-tech, everything in terms of power and graphics that you'd come to expect from today's state-of-the-art consoles in a handheld device dedicated to gaming.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm here to show you the PlayStation Vita. For those of you who aren't familiar with the device, this is the next generation of handheld console gaming. We're introducing here a 5-inch OLED screen, front and rear touch controls, gyroscopic motion controls, front and rear camera, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and 3G connectivity. And we're also introducing dual analog sticks. Combined, this unit really truly allows people to take the console gaming experience on the go. And what we'll be demonstrating to you today is Uncharted Golden Abyss. For those of you unfamiliar with the Uncharted series, it's a highly regarded, critically acclaimed, multi-million unit selling franchise for the PlayStation 3. Known for its fantastic storytelling, cinematic gameplay, and incredible action sequences, this is probably the closest you'll ever get to playing a Hollywood blockbuster movie. Now, most people generally who don't play games very much would probably be intimidated by the idea of memorizing or remembering all these controls. But with Uncharted Golden Abyss and with the PlayStation Vita, we're capable of introducing brand new ways to play. For example, I don't have to touch a button, I just touch the screen. And Nathan will go ahead and climb onto the pole. I can then utilize the rear touch controls to move him up. I can then easily tap and have him leap over. And I can continue this experience without using a single button. One of the other applications as well are the use, for example, of the gyro controls. So I can pull up a camera, and utilizing the gyro, I can look around within the game environment. I can zoom in or out, and I can go ahead and capture a picture. Now, one of the possible implications of this is that I can save this picture to my own personal collection here. I can share it locally with friends via the PlayStation Network. I can post this on Facebook or Twitter in case I'm trying to guide some people through a particular segment, or if I just kind of want to show off some of the gameplay portions that I've experienced today. Continuing the experience here, we're also, of course, incorporating things like gyro controls. So I can kind of try to keep him from falling over, or I can lift him right up. Now, while people are playing these sorts of games, we're collecting all sorts of information. What stage are you in? How long did it take you to get here? Did you fall and die?
Skype?
How many people have you shot? How many people have you defeated? Maybe you've been struggling. And all this information can be collected and then shared digitally. We can collect this in the form of trophies that we reward people who are part of the PlayStation Network. They can then share this information via Facebook, Twitter, or locally with their friends list. People can see how far along I've gotten and maybe even provide me with hints and additional information that I may need in order to be able to accomplish a particular task or goal. As you can see here, we're continuing to use the touch controls to essentially paint a path across the game. I can then, of course, integrate touch controls and gameplay controls and use them seamlessly between the two. I'll go ahead and finish up here.
Oh, thank God. I thought you were hurt.
I told you to stay down. You could get us killed. Worse.
I thought you'd want to know about a patrol.
Oh, okay, fine.
But if you don't want me to warn you,
No, really.
fine.
Fine. Chase. Okay. This way.
And that concludes our demonstration of Uncharted Golden Abyss for the PlayStation Vita. Thank you very much.
So,
Thanks, Kristen.
Jack, that's not just a demo. You're announcing that this... What are you announcing?
Well, yeah, I just want to do it for this group here today. We did announce publicly that it'll be available in Asia, Japan, December 17th in time for the holidays. We had hundreds of people lining up in Tokyo just to register for the pre-sale. But today we're announcing that it'll be available in North America, Latin America, and Europe on February 22nd. So just about 4 months away from hitting the street.
Well, best of luck with it.
Thank you.
And I'm going to bring Jane McGonigal up to have a conversation with you about this and more. So
Excellent. Okay,
thank you
John.
for being
Thank
here.
you.
Jane, are you here? Welcome, Jane.
Thank you.
Hi, Jane.
February 22nd. It's on my calendar.
February 22nd, $249 for the Wi-Fi version and $299 for the 3G version.
Excellent, excellent. Well, let's talk for a minute about the Vita. So there's been a real explosion of gameplay in the mobile market on multi-purpose devices, so tablets, smartphones, and the Vita is really a play for embracing the single-purpose gaming device. Can you kind of talk us through the thinking and research behind that strategy?
Sure. I mean, we've been committed to the gaming business for 16 years now, and we see ourselves at the top of that entertainment pyramid, and we think all roads lead to PlayStation. So we want to be anywhere gaming is. And I think we're very proud of the fact that we've gotten to 1 in 4 U.S. households with PlayStation 2 and sold over 150 million units worldwide, and that's something we're very proud of. But the glass half empty is that there's still 3 out of 4 U.S. households that may not own a console and may not consider themselves gamers. I think it's a real renaissance period for gaming. I think you've got more people interested in gaming than ever before, and that's job one, to get somebody interested in the category, to get somebody looking at the PlayStation platforms. And if they do that, we think we can ultimately convert people to PlayStation gamers, but they have to fundamentally develop an interest in gaming. And I think the advent of smartphone gaming is actually quite additive to what we're trying to accomplish.
It'll be really interesting, I think, to see if the Angry Bird gamers do develop a taste for more kind of hardcore gaming. And watching that demo and looking at the gameplay, you know, being able to move Nathan through the swiping and the touchscreen, which looks a little bit more like Angry Birds than a traditional, what you would think of, kind of button mashing game. Are you looking to those, I think it's 350 million downloads so far, Angry Birds. Are you looking to those gamers as a pipeline for something like the Vita?
Yeah, I think there's a very healthy debate as to whether that's a threat to dedicated gaming devices or whether it's additive, and we certainly think it's additive. As I said, if you are completely intimidated to put a controller in your hand or you've got zero interest in gaming, then that's a heavy hurdle for us. If you have a rudimentary interest in gaming, we think we can migrate you up that evolutionary scale. And I think people tend to move forward in technology as opposed to back. So if you're talking about a big-time cinematic experience in 3D with motion gaming on an HD TV, on a multi-million-dollar game development, to me, that's a more natural migration than saying, you know, this big epic experience just isn't for me. I think rocking a few minutes before the plane takes off is my new gaming experience. There's certainly going to be some people that, based on complications in life, may not game as much as they did before, but I think we're adding more gamers and getting people that are interested in it than we're taking away with the new forms of devices that are available.
Yeah, well, so you mentioned some people seeing it as a potential threat to the hardcore gaming industry. The other big disruption obviously has been social network gaming. Zynga leading the fray there. I mean, what do you make of it? Is it a bubble, as some people say? Is it part of the ecosystem that you think Sony's interested in playing in?
As I said, at the end of the day, we want to be everywhere gaming is. And the good news is there's not an area of the business that we don't participate in. So if you talk about the freemium social networking space, we have a great site called Home that's an avatar-based social gaming platform. We've got 24 24 million active users that play an average of 70 minutes at a time, and we've got over 200 freemium-based games that people can play. And it's a great ecosystem for us to not only monetize and really get a lot of consumer interest out of, but you look at a game like Uncharted that's coming out on PlayStation 3 this November, we have a form of that game to kind of whet your appetite on home, and the users in home generated 7.7 million kills in that game in just 4 days on home. So it builds the audience, it builds the interest in the console-based game, which will be coming out next month.
I love statistics like that. In my book, I write about gamers proudly proclaiming collective kills, and some people read it and thought, that's not something really to be proud of. But I mean, it is interesting when you see the community. It's not just about their own game. That they're a part of this community. I know that's something you spend a lot of time trying to build.
Yeah, and kills is one example. Obviously, I think the net is that gamers are a very passionate consumer. They're very competitive. They want to know how they rate against their friends. They want to know how they rate against other people around the world. And you've got sports gamers that are stat freaks. And I think the great thing, is we talk about data at this conference, is we can use data to match gamers better than ever before. You have gamers that would be intimidated to play a shooting game, and they walk onto the field and they're dead 5 seconds in. We can match gamers geographically based on their interests and have Oakland A players playing against other Oakland A players, people that are 500 in our MLB game playing against other gamers that are 500. So we're not matching up, the slaughterhouse dedicated gamer against the newbie that's going to be turned off before they ever get their foot in the door.
Right. So, and I know with the Vita, the data is portable, right? So if I'm playing a game on my Vita and I can continue the game on my PS3.
Yeah, and I'm more of a sports gamer, so I tend to use those examples. But MLB The Show, I could be playing the game on my Vita